I mean, before several.
But I think several is more than a few.
A minute, a couple minutes, a few minutes, several minutes.
Several.
I would think would be that order.
You know how your jacket's supposed to hang to your...
But I
Your
think
arm?
the latest
I don't mind that.
style.
Yours does, right?
Not to my fingertips.
No, you cup it. You're supposed to be able to
fashion
cup it.
forward,
I
right?
can.
I'm missing by about 4 inches.
Look at your arms, too.
They do want to get it.
European.
You know, when you... you know when you're from Europe? Because European. Hmm?
Double whoop-de-doo.
Good. I love that. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Sarah. And it is indeed a beautiful Friday for Gander Outdoors Truck Series qualifying from Kansas Speedway on the 1.5 miles for the 4th time this season. And some fans coming out, going to enjoy the weekend. We've already seen a couple of practices, and it started early this morning. Stuart Friesen, Brett Moffitt topping the board with Matt Crafton, Sheldon Creed, and Harrison Burton rounding out the top 5. Now those are combined speeds from the first 2 practices, but just so happened to be the fastest laps all got put up in practice number 1. Great to have you with us, Vince Welch, along with Michael Waltrip and Phil Parsons. So, Michael, in practice, we saw him on the bottom, on the top, in the middle, a little bit everywhere. But how about qualifying? What do we expect?
Well, I expect they'll leave pit road, Vince, and run around the top of 3 and 4, come and get the green, and get to the bottom. I'm talking crazy speed here, 1.5 miles, and you're going to run around it in about 30 seconds. I remember the first time I took a truck out at 1.5 miles, got down the center of the corner, I thought it sped up. I've never felt anything quite like it. Talking to the drivers down there today, that's the kind of speed they're going to be experiencing. It's going to be a lot of fun, Phil.
It really is. And, you know, Jamie McMurray said just a few moments ago he didn't think qualifying was that important because this racetrack is so wide. But we have never had a winner come from outside the top 10 in qualifying here. 18 races, 10th's the worst start that we've ever had for a winner.
So you better qualify in the top 10? Is that
well, better than that, I think, Vince, because 9 of the 18 times our winners come from the front row. So I think qualifying is, for whatever reason, more important here than it is most everywhere.
I'm gonna go for the 4th starting position. Because the average
I'll
starting
give you
position
that.
of the winner is 4.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Absolutely. Top 4, we're good.
We'll look forward to it. We're about to set the stage and line them up a little bit later tonight. We'll line up the field with qualifying next.
Gucci. Gucci? It is a brand. I don't know, it's a brand of like pocketbook. And the name of Austin Dillon, French Bulldog. Gucci? I think it's like a bag, isn't it? Gucci. That means like something's good, huh? But I think that means good. Gucci is good. Oh, it's Gucci. Now you can see all the trucks are stays on pit road is working here for qualifying for the NASCAR Gander Outdoors Truck Series to find out who will be lined up on the pole a little bit later on tonight for the running of the Digital Ally 250. 30 trucks are scheduled to take time. It'll be one lap around again. We'll see just a couple weeks ago, the changes were made to the qualifying here for NASCAR this season. It will be single vehicle qualifying. It'll be one lap around. So you got to lay down a good one. As you make your way out on the racetrack, you got one lap to get the best starting position you can. Again, the NASCAR Gander Outdoors Truck Series qualifying coming up in just a matter of minutes. And then later on tonight at 6:05, it'll be qualifying for the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series and then running of the Digital Ally 400 tomorrow night. We'll find out who wins that Best Pole Award in that series a bit later on this evening. And then tonight at 7 o'clock, we'll get driver introductions underway for the running of the Digital Ally 250. And at 7:40, it's the drop of the green flag here tonight. We'll set them off and run 167 laps around Bargate top of overtime. 167 laps, making up the 250-mile distance for the NASCAR. For the Mustang. Gander Outdoors Truck Series, and it was good racing. It was focused in most measures, and it was certainly a stunning racing pace in truck number 52 in the Howard International Chevrolet. First practice session, 170.
I think he got a flight canceled last night or something.
What about Moffitt's wheels?
I like it. I bet we're going to have a good time a little bit later tonight when we go racing, and about to have some fun right now as we're going to set the field for the Gander Outdoors Truck Series race later tonight with single truck qualifying. You better get it done the first time around. You'll leave pit road, you'll come around, you'll take the green, and you get one lap.
And we're kind of used to that, Michael. We had some of that back in the day, just one lap qualifying, and you better get it done. But again, as you mentioned, these guys are going to leave pit road and never back off the throttle.
And that's a great feeling, Phil. Just the speed. Why did you want to be a race car driver when you were growing up? You wanted to go fast. And these guys are certainly going to be able to do that here today. And it'll be interesting to watch who gets the most aggressive down in turns 3 and 4 coming to the green. You could win this pole by the way you come to the green before you even take the flag to start your lap. So these guys will really be focused not only when they get down to turn 3, running wide open and running high through there, but launching off pit road. Every second will count during this session.
And the reason they go wide is just to make this racetrack longer, give these trucks more time to build that momentum.
This is TJ Bell, one of the trucks out of the Nice Motorsports Garage, making his first start of the season.
Running the middle of the racetrack. Felt they might be a little bit lower. We'll see as we go through this session if that's a trend or if TJ just maybe isn't handling well enough to get it all the way to the bottom of the racetrack. 32.40 is his lap around this 1.5-mile racetrack.
Our reporters are Hermie Sadler and Alan Cavana, and we'll begin with Alan.
Hey Vince, I am with Bell's teammate Ross Chastain, the only driver to finish in the top 10 in every single truck race this season so far. But for qualifying right now, you guys did not make any qualifying runs in practice. Do you have any idea what to expect right now?
I hope I'm wide open if our truck's good enough, even with it being sunny. Still should be easy wide open around the bottom. And if it doesn't stick, then you'll be able to see it, I'm sure.
All right, we'll keep an eye out, see what Ross Chastain can do, Hermie.
Thank you, Alan. Harrison Burton trying to build on some momentum you started last time out at Dover, but this is a finicky racetrack. Have you got a plan before you go on track for your qualifying lap?
Just hold it wide open and see what happens is kind of the biggest plan. It's really, really big. We only get one lap, so building momentum will be huge. You'll see a lot of guys running up towards the wall in 3 and 4, trying to build that momentum coming to the stripe, and then from then on, it's hold it wide open and hit your marks right, and hopefully not get loose. So we'll see. It's a finicky racetrack, like you said. We were really good in one practice and not so good in the second, so hopefully it's more like the first practice.
You know, he brings up a good point, Vince. Only one lap, not that first lap to feel it out. You got to go right when you leave pit road.
Well, and you better not make a mistake because you only get one shot around.
You know, that was an interesting dynamic with Hermie and Harrison Burton. Harrison has about 2 more weeks of high school left, and Hermie can't even remember high school. So.
And we should say congratulations to Hermie, though. His daughter
Absolutely.
Graduating from University of North Carolina.
Yeah, this weekend.
Yeah. Spencer Boyd and TJ Bell, the 2 qualifiers so far. Now, our change to the schedule for 2020 includes a return to Richmond. Gateway is going to kick off the playoffs. Richmond's going to end round 1.
I love the fact that we're going back to Richmond. That's what a great racetrack, that 3/4 mile facility there at the fairgrounds.
What about that wrestling match we're going to have at Martinsville to see who goes to the championship 4 on a Friday night at Martinsville, and then it's off to ISM Raceway to crown our champion.
Yeah, the 2020 schedule.
That's fun, Vince.
A lot to look forward to, that's for sure. It's going to be fun just finishing up this season, and then we've got that to look forward to next year as you watch Norm Benning get around this 1.5 miles.
And man, there's a lot of racing left in this season. What are we, 6 races in
Yep.
now? This is race 7 of 23.
Norm will be making his 4th start this season, so it's good to see Norm back. He's been around the Truck Series for quite a while. You can see him battling that truck a little bit, wrestling it up off turn 4 to the line.
3rd of 3 so far, and we'll back downstairs to Hermie.
Got Grant Infinger, and as you now talking this morning, you guys have been this close. You said you need that little bit more to go to victory lane. Do you think you've got that today?
That's the plan. I think Jeff Hensley tried to dial it in. I feel like we have a good Protect the Harvest Ford F-150. We've been solid all year. We just need that little bit, so hopefully we got it tonight.
These guys been, like everybody else, chasing this racetrack, trying to find the right combination of having something that'll race good but also be fast on this qualifying lap.
Well, the last time we were at the 1.5 miles in Texas, Infinger was the pole winner.
Yeah, 4 top 5 finishes so far for Grant. 11's his worst finish of the year.
Talked to him down in the garage area, and he had a big smile on his face, too. He said, I think we're maybe the favorite to win this race tonight. But, you know, Phil, I talked to about 12 guys that said the same exact thing.
We don't have that much room at victory lane.
You can't all be favorites, but there's certainly a lot of confidence. And anytime you are able to run nearly wide open around a racetrack, that builds confidence because you think that maybe you've got something special. Maybe you can run wide open just a lap or 2 longer than the next guy, and that's going to give you that advantage.
And it's going to be hard to think that you're not going to be one of the favorites when you can go out there and run wide open.
Here's Josh Rayholm in the 33, coming through turn 4 and headed toward the tri-oval to finish up his qualifying lap. Of course, got the season started off with that great finish at Daytona, career best 6th. 3rd quickest out of 4 to go so far. And we check in with Alan.
I'm down here with Austin Hill, who's at the end of this line. You did some qualifying, mock qualifying run. You said you were loose, though. So how much confidence do you have going full blast into turn 1 right now?
I always have confidence when I come to race for HRE, man. They bring fast trucks every weekend. We just missed it a little bit in our mock run. Got a little loose down in 1 and 2, and it really hurt our time. So we know what we need to do to make the truck better, but it's awesome to have the TRD 40th anniversary scheme on this weekend again. And big shout out to Jordan Sheldon's family, the officer that was shot and killed. I hate that, but we're racing in his memory today, so we're going to just keep grinding, try to get this thing in victory lane for him.
All right, good tribute there, guys.
Yeah, Jordan Sheldon, the police officer, the canine officer from Mooresville, North Carolina, who lost his life last week. Funeral services earlier today, and they had a moment of silence here in the garage.
Yeah, so tragic.
In Kansas. And most of the trucks running that decal in honor of Jordan Sheldon.
Bunch of the Cup cars I noticed too, Vince. The Monster Energy guys were carrying that sticker to honor his life. Such a tragic event.
Timmy Hill, 2nd fastest of the 5 to go so far, and there's a great look at the decal on the truck of the 16 of Austin Hill.
I was talking to Mike Gricci, the team manager, and he was really shook up about that. And you know, obviously we take our law enforcement folks for granted sometimes, but it's just like that situation with at UNCC. You know, you saw a video of the kids leaving classrooms, and the policemen were running the other direction, and sure glad they're there.
Here's Josh Bilicki in the 34, making his first career start in the Truck Series.
That's cool, huh?
Yep.
See him in the Xfinity Series quite regularly, and good to see him have a chance here in the trucks.
He's the only one in the field today that will be making their first career start. Normally we have a couple that are giving it a shot for the first time, but Josh making his debut this evening.
telling you, Vince, nothing will get your attention more. You talk to the drivers, everybody we hear from down on pit road. You've got to leave pit road assuming it's going to stick, because you have to be that committed down into turn 3 and down into turn 1. Well, Phil, what if it doesn't stick? You're going to have your hands full, right?
Absolutely.
A half dozen to put a time on the board, but we're just getting started at Kansas. Back at Kansas Speedway for Gander Outdoors Truck Series qualifying. 6 have put a time on the board so far. And here's Angela Ruck in the 44.
How about that great top 10 run she had at Daytona to start the season?
It's a special weekend for her, too. It's, of course, Mother's Day weekend, and Angela became a mom for the first time. Well, the season had actually already begun, and her and her husband adopted a little boy.
Yeah, they were maybe Atlanta, something like that. They were on baby watch then at the time.
This is really a bit of an advantage for a young racer like Ruck without a lot of experience. She knows that this truck should run wide open and stick to the road. She doesn't have to worry about lift points. She doesn't have to worry about how to get the best lap. She just has to concentrate on her line, leave that gas right on the floorboard. But man, that being said, it's still a thrill ride. You can see right down on that white line. I liked where she was in the center of the corner. Looked like a pretty decent lap.
I was watching the tracker over top left. You see where it's tracking with the 44 truck around third. He's saying she's going to end up with third. That thing bottomed out hard over there in 1 and 2, Michael. She was out at first, and it jumped down to third, so I think it might have caused her to lift a little bit.
Well, and the competitors are all saying how rough it is into turn 1. We'll have to watch that closely tonight in the race, because you get to bouncing around on the inside of another truck. That could spell disaster.
Hermie?
Walking down pit road with Todd Gilliland. So you've worked all day on your truck to make it good for the long runs. Ran the top of the racetrack. Now you got to go run a wide open lap around the bottom of the racetrack. So how challenging is that?
It is definitely really challenging. Luckily, 90% of the time, anything you do to make your truck better in the long run will help it for the most part here. So you will have a little bit different balance with tape on, and these guys do a lot to get a little bit extra speed, but that's what it's all about, is being able to balance the speed with the comfort and still being able to run around here wide open.
These guys started practice really, really loose, but felt like by the end had something they could race with tonight. We'll see how he does in qualifying.
Vince, that's a good-looking truck. It's a bad-sounding truck.
Yeah.
When you say bad, you mean like not
bad, not good.
Because
bad,
you know,
not
kind
good.
of in the
New age
jargon,
jargon,
bad is good.
Depends on the inflection.
Yeah. He quit. Maybe that's a better way to tell you about how bad it was.
Bailey Curry, it did not sound up to full song, as they say, as it came by the line to get the green flag and for its qualifying run. Alan?
And I'm down here with Sheldon Creed, who led nearly 60 laps last week in Dover before a crash finally took him out. Can you focus on those positives, though? Because that was a career run you had going.
Yeah, definitely. I went back and forth this week. Just there it is. I thought about it a lot this week, what I could have done different, and just tried to pull the positives. We had a good race truck, and we're just going to try to turn that into this weekend. My guys brought another fast Chevy Silverado, and just going to try to do my job. I give it 100% every time I'm in the race car. If you guys can't see that from the TV or anything, I'm always on the gas. So just going to try to do my best job tonight, and hopefully we qualify good, which we mocked up earlier and it was pretty fast. So I just got to do my job. I got to work on being patient, obviously, but I don't know. I think our win's coming. I just need to put it all together.
100%. This type of racetrack suits him, guys.
Well, and you often hear even those around his own team saying they're trying to get him to slow down to go faster. They believe once Sheldon kind of backs it off a little bit, he'll end up being better.
And that's a lot easier than going the other direction. It's hard to really light a fire under somebody, but there's no doubt in my mind, we've seen the speed out of that young man.
Oh, Joe Cobb.
And we talk about running wide open, and it's a commitment. And you know, you'll hear drivers say it's fairly easy, but the truck has to be right because you're committed. You're all the way down there wide open, and if it just steps out at all, you'll wind up into the wall just like Joe did.
That's unfortunate. Kind of back home. She's from Kansas City.
She's done such a great job historically, Phil, when it comes time to go qualify. She always is able to reach down and grab some more speed. And you could tell the commitment there. She was wide open, and the truck was just loose.
Yeah, I was talking to Brett Moffitt. We talk about the bumps down at 1 and 2. He said there's some bumps now entering turn 3, and a lot of times those bumps will induce a little bit of looseness. She gets it right down to the bottom and then chases it up the hill just a little bit. She was about the 5/8 point of that corner, past the center a little bit.
And you could hear when it jumped sideways, she was still wide open in the gas, even though she had bottomed low and skittered up the track.
Pretty heavy rear end damage to that tin machine. So for Joe Cobb, it's take it back to the garage, and got to believe that's a backup truck need for later tonight.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of time before race time.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know that they would have enough time to get that repaired, certainly the way they would like. Let's check in with Herbie.
Well, thanks, Vince. Brandon back in the 51 truck again this weekend. How unnerving is it to be watching practice or qualifying in this case to see that happen? Sometimes it looks very easy to go around this place wide open, but sometimes it can be a little tricky as well.
I was just going to mention that. That's the problem with a single car. You get to watch everybody go out, and if something happens like that, you hate to see that for a driver, but I'm pretty confident we've got our truck locked in the track pretty well. We were actually fighting a lot of tight in practice there, so hopefully in the race, I know they made some changes, so I think it's going to be a lot better for us, but it's good to have Shigo back on our 51 Tundra this weekend, and looking forward to night racing finally.
Vince?
Thank you, Hermie. Hey, if you're getting ready to have to leave the house, but you want to continue to watch qualifying, this broadcast is also live on our Fox partner, Caffeine, which means you can watch that online. You see streaming on Caffeine. Apple App Store and Google Play is the location. You can find it and its availability, and you can download it for free.
Been doing a lot of Caffeine in this year, Vince. Live streaming from the pit road, the garage area, infield even. It's cool to have a partner like Caffeine.
You can watch, chat, even host your own broadcast. A little fun. Truck Series qualifying from Kansas. We'll continue after this.
NASCAR Gander Outdoors Truck Series. One of them is in the field today. Matt Crafton being one. He had 2 wins. One back in April of 2013. The other May of 2015. There were multiple winners. Kyle Busch not in the field today, but winning in 2014, 2017. There's only one other previous winner in the Truck Series in the field today. That being Johnny Sauter, the one back here in 2010. And a race that they still talk about. That finish when he and Ron Hornaday basically did the simultaneous slide around turns 3 and 4, trying to come to the checkered flag. That is a finish that continues to be shown time and time again as one of the better finishes in the history of the NASCAR Gander Outdoors Truck Series. Looks like Notre Dame.
King Queen live. Of Kansas?
Yeah.
I'll be damned.
The Kansas City skyline, north in the state of Kansas, but just 13 miles west of Kansas City, Missouri. Whenever I say I'm going to Kansas Speedway, I'm always asked, is that Kansas City, Kansas, or is it Kansas City, Missouri? Interesting.
I'm never asked where
You're
I'm
not,
at.
Never?
Very rarely.
You're trying to figure out where you are
Exactly.
more often than
He
not.
really doesn't have an answer for it. That's why.
Don't know. Hey, we know where Hermie's at. He's downstairs on pit road.
You got Brett Moffitt, our defending champion and runner-up last week. I know you don't like that word per se, but just like you guys have another good one here this weekend, what is going to be the key to you getting a good qualifying lap?
I think it's just getting up to speed here. We're pretty easily wide open, so it's all about getting up to speed through 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, coming to the green, and just be smooth on the wheel the rest of the lap. And we have a lot of speed in our Silverado here, and got a couple new partners on board too, or not new, but first time coming back this year. So we're happy to have them on, Concrete Supply and Central Plains Cement Company, and we got a list of new partners coming on through these summer months and through the Midwest. So really excited about that.
Solid team. Just want to get to victory lane.
Well, they've been knocking on the door. Of course, last week, Moffitt won the pole and had a pretty good day. Won stage 1 as well.
He was 2/10 quicker than the next fastest truck qualifying.
But you know, when things get a little bit crazy at Dover, Johnny Sauter, his experience, he's really able to drive in places on this racetrack we didn't see other guys go. Caught Moffitt in a little bit of traffic there and took the lead away.
And Sheldon Creed also in the 2 truck went from 3rd to 1st.
And then a restart with 4 to go. Moffitt was on the inside. Johnny Sauter was on the outside, and that outside line was just the preferred line.
It was. I think if Brett Moffitt had that outside line, we might have had a different outcome. But Johnny Sauter worked his tail off, getting caught behind a little bit one time when he stalled his truck trying to save fuel and passed a lot of trucks.
That was hurtful, too, for Jerry Baxter, Brett Moffitt, that whole team. GMS thought they had the best truck in Delaware and not able to get the victory. That just stings a little bit when you have a truck as fast as they did.
They're pretty happy with the truck they've got here today as well. We'll keep an eye on it and look forward to the qualifying run of Brett Moffitt in just a little while. Here's Joey Gase in the 0, looking to make his first start of the season.
What about from one Iowan to another? Brett Moffitt's from Iowa. Talk about all the new sponsors he has as we go through the Midwestern part of this country. It's good to see those folks climbing on board with Brett.
I remember when Brett first came to NASCAR running the K&N series as a 16-year-old, and he had a lot of speed back then, and he certainly hasn't lost any of it.
That's right. This is Joey Gase's first start of the season in this 0 truck.
That's the second truck out of the Jennifer Joe Cobb stable.
Sure, he might have been just a little lighter on the throttle than he would have been if he hadn't seen Jen Joe go for a spin.
Yeah. Discretion, the better part of valor there, I think.
Spencer Boyd still with the fastest time posted so far to 31:37.
I think we're going to see probably speeds. Would you guess maybe almost as much as a second faster than than that. We saw about, what, a 30-40 something in practice?
Yeah, I thought after watching practice this morning, Phil, that we would see a track record this afternoon. The sun came out a little bit more than I anticipated, so that could slow him down a bit. But 30.10, almost 180 miles an hour in a pickup truck around this racetrack is the track record. I think we challenge that.
This is Riley Herbst making his first start of the season. Made 4 starts last year, and impressive debut at Gateway. Ran top 10.
Jim tracking first there. See top left of your screen, the little chip with the 46. And down lower right, you see he's over 0.3 of a second faster than Spencer Boyd's time. This is going to be a good lap. This is going to be, gosh, probably somewhere in the 30-50 range, something like that, maybe 30-60.
I'm going to need him to get on down around about a 30-20 so this track record becomes real. See if he can do that.
Herbst, 20 years old, from Las Vegas, Nevada, and it is indeed the fastest by far to 30.63. Sean Sauter getting up through the gears.
We wanted to hear, how he was able to launch, and these trucks make about 700 horsepower there, and I'm telling you that he had a hard time getting that thing hooked up. He spun the tires first gear and then spun them when he shifted to second gear. That's what you talked about, Mike. It's not just a simple matter of leaving pit road running wide open. A driver's got to do everything he can do for that launch and to get up to speed.
Listen to this, though. Perfect line for Sauter, right to the bottom, never breathed off the throttle, doesn't even swing all the way out to the outside wall, just simply trying to make this track shorter.
Beautiful music, isn't it?
But that start off the line, do you think that'll hurt him in his ultimate time?
I'm just telling you, it wasn't perfect. You expect a guy like Johnny Sauter, you've seen it repeatedly. He was perfect at Dover when he won that race. I'm sure he didn't like that launch. I'm sure it wasn't exactly what he was looking for. How much it hurt him, I don't think it hurt a tenth. Herbst was going to beat him anyway, but it certainly might have hurt him a couple hundredths.
Back downstairs to Hermie.
Ben Rhodes on pit road, watching some fan vision. How much can you learn from watching your competitors on the racetrack?
I guess as much as I can. I mean, I'm just looking for lines, really, to see what they're doing coming up to the green and seeing how many people are loose or tight, what they're fighting. I felt like the track went through a huge change in practice, but I don't know, maybe it was just us. I asked around the garage as much as I could. So we made some big changes from practice to qualifying here. This might be the first week I actually want group qualifying back, just so I can run the truck again.
These guys learning all they can at every opportunity.
We were sitting in the garage bench, you and I, talking to Ben, and he said his truck was really loose in that first practice. And then his teammate walked up, Grant Enfinger, and Ben said, as he said, he asked a bunch of his teammates and other competitors, he said, "What was your truck?" He said, "Well, mine was a little bit tight." So
Yeah.
Ben just shook his head.
Yeah, he didn't have the most confident look on his face when he heard that, did he?
What about this start to the 2019 season for our friend
impressive.
Ross Chastain? He's raced everything all year long. That's all he does. And he's doing a nice job in this 45 truck. Whips it down off the track.
Going to the top of the board here, guys.
Wow.
Beautiful.
30.57 for Ross Chastain.
This is.
How about this one last week?
This is his wreck right here from last week. Well, it should have been his wreck from last week.
Phil, as a racer, when you go into a hole that wasn't quite there, you think, uh-oh, I've messed up. I better save my truck, and I better save my melons.
And my competitors, too, because there was a couple of them that were a little bit close for comfort.
Could you imagine that load of melons if he had hit the outside wall?
That'd have been a mess.
We'd still be picking up melons,
That's
would we?
right.
Now, were those Maryland melons?
They were.
Yeah.
They were from Maryland.
Oh, Alan, save us.
I'll do what I can, guys. I'm here with Riley Herbst. He's on top of the board right now, but did you get everything you could have out of this 46 KBM machine?
I think so, but first off, just want to wish my sister a happy graduation. She's graduating from college today from University of Southern California, so I'm sorry I can't be there, but I had a really fast Monster Energy Toyota Tundra this weekend, and I think I left a little bit out there, but I wanted to be a little bit safe and have a good piece we could run with tonight.
You want to say anything to your mom, maybe, too?
Oh, yeah, happy Mother's Day, but she's got a few days, so right now it's all me and my sister.
You got to help out the kids sometimes, guys.
All about me and my sister. I've kind of thought that sometimes in my life, too. It was all about me.
Got to take one. Well, yes. Got to take care of one lady at a time.
That's
It's
right.
his sister today. He'll take care of mom on Sunday.
Tyler Dipple
Yep.
wound up 4th fastest so far, Vince, in that beautiful number 02 truck.
One of the 3 trucks out of Tyler Young's stable, and we're going to have a nice feature during our race day show tonight before our race on Young's Motorsports.
Impressive run by Tyler the last time we were at the 1.5-mile track in Texas. A career best finish. Austin Wayne Self in the 22.
Austin started off the year with a top 10 at Daytona, a place that he has his best career finish, as you can see right there, a 2nd back in 2017.
See him taking that high line, just trying to get that number 22 wound up. Comes to the start-finish line, and now we'll dive low into turn 1.
I really look for good things from this team. Eddie Traconis, that was Ben Rhodes' crew chief last year over at ThorSport, has moved back down south to be the crew chief for Austin Wayne Self, and look for some good things from this team this year.
Yeah, I like Eddie and the job that he does, that's for sure. Self through turn 3.
Oh, loose.
Yes.
That'll get your attention.
And you can see that tracker right side of your screen. He was about 2 tenths off the pole when he made that little bobble. Now you can see he's going to be about a 2nd off.
I saw Eddie Traconis down in the garage area today, Phil, and I said, "You are the nicest guy in this garage area." Every time I see you, I smile. He said, "Well, thank you, Mike. I just like his spirit, and I think that he's going to be really good for this young man and this team."
With our most recent winner, here's Alan.
And that is Johnny Sauter, who is just asking a few questions of Ross Chastain. Were you asking for some tips, qualifying tips?
No, I just asked him what he ran. I didn't get to hear what he ran for a time, but obviously not the lap we wanted with our Ford F-150, but that's how it goes some days. So we had decent speed there. We struggled a little bit the first practice, and Joe and the guys did a good job working on it. So I don't know where that'll put us. We never made a mock run earlier today, and the draft is so big here. When people do make mock runs in practice, you really don't know what they, who they're with or whatever. So nonetheless, we'll just keep working hard and see what we can do.
Johnny Sauter, winner last week, locked into the playoff field.
I wouldn't count him out.
No, well, he's going to need to qualify in the top 10, though, Vince. We've already established that, yeah.
This guy knows what he's doing here at Kansas. Couple of wins. Always strong when we run on the 1.5 mile, and you can see the tracker has him about a 10th to the good right now.
Yeah, a 30-40 is the best lap that we saw, and that was Stuart Friesen in the first practice. This lap is going to be right in the 40s somewhere, a 45, 30.459, top of the board for Matt Crafton.
Matt, a 2-time winner, as Michael said, has grabbed him a couple of Kansas trophies. In fact, of the last 6 races here, Kyle Busch Motorsports has won 4 of them, and the other 2 have both been won by Matt Crafton. And here's Harrison Burton in the 18. Now, the 18 number was king here last year. Noah Gregson was the pilot of the 18, won the pole, won stage 1, won stage 2, and won the race. And Harrison Burton's hoping there's a little something in the number.
Without a doubt, because it's actually a different team. This is the Mike Hellman Jr. led team. Rudy Fugel was leading the 18
Don't
team.
get in the way of a good story, Phil.
I'm with you on the number, though, Vince. I'm with you on the number.
Oh, look at this. Off the track, coming to the green. That's different.
The transition is so abrupt, though, isn't it?
I like his spirit, though.
I love this view from this visor cam here. You see him tracking 2nd right now. Pretty smooth, isn't it? I mean,
in the green, now
teetering
off into the red.
It's going to be a great lap nonetheless. See if he can gain a little bit up off the corner.
Just needs a little.
Solid 2nd quickest behind Crafton.
I would love to see these young racers' heart rate when they're on pit road, just waiting to go, and then when they fire down into turn 3 and 4 and have to run that thing wide open, it just got to go crazy. Because I'm telling you, the sensation of speed running around this place wide open is crazy.
Michael, when you and I started, shoot, it was easy for us to run wide open because we only did it at Daytona and Talladega. We never would have dreamed on doing it at some place like Kansas Speedway.
Our colleague Bobby Labonte, his brother Terry, told me a long time ago. He said, "Mike, I have one rule. If I'm not at Daytona or Talladega, I live." And I love that rule. But these days, it's different. These guys have to be hammered down.
Here's Gus Dean coming off a nice top 15 finish at Dover last week. In fact, a career best, 14th.
That's cool. Good run at Dover. And that's a track where you sort of separate the real racers from guys that are just hanging on. If you battle up to a top 15 finish at that place and it be your best, that's a great sign for this team.
And it's he'd never been there before in any form of a race car. Really good lap going here for Gus. Right now, tracking third, only a 10th off our pole.
He looked loose down there too. I think he was really battling that truck.
Fourth quickest for Gus Dean at a 30.62. Make sure you're watching race day later tonight with a nice look at the three members of Young's Motorsports, including Gus Dean.
Is there a friendly competition amongst the three of you? You know, sort of bragging rights on where people finish?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. For sure. Yeah. I think more so, like, you know, the race kind of is what it is because stuff can happen, circumstances, wrecks, and whatnot. I think the biggest competition is practice for sure.
Oh, yeah?
Like, if,
practice,
I beat him by a 10th, it's kind of like one of these moments here, but I mean, for sure, competition.
Look forward to that later tonight on race day. We're setting the field for tonight's race and going to get around here at 167 laps later tonight.
We're going to give Gus the props for qualifying. He's got the better of his two teammates for qualifying.
17 is Tyler Ankrum from DGR Crossley. Bono Mannion, the crew chief on this truck.
Top 10s in his last two starts here for Tyler Ankrum. Really doing a nice job this year. Look at pretty darn good lap too, tracking second right now. He did it, 30.472.
Impressive second quickest so far for Tyler Ankrum, the 18-year-old from San Bernardino, California. Back with Hermie.
Well, the 88 of Matt Crafton still at the top of the board. Did you get about what you thought you'd get out of this Ford on that qualifying lap?
Yeah, we did a qualifying run earlier. It was a lot cooler when we did it, and we're a little over a tenth slower, but it's a lot hotter right now. So this Menards Ford F-150, we worked on it really, really, really hard today. And race trim, I ran 28 laps straight in the last practice. I haven't done that in a while, just haven't felt comfortable enough to be able to run 28 straight green flag laps in practice. And it wouldn't fire off really well, but it would. I mean, it's unbelievable how good it was, the balance was. So we made a few changes after practice and see if we can make it just a little bit better, and she'll fire off and be able to run in front all night.
88, good run last week, fast this week.
Well, remember, Phil, when we were down in the garage and you asked the crew member what they were doing to the truck, and they said trying to slow it down because it's just too darn fast.
Exactly. I don't think they did it. I don't think it worked. I think he's still fast.
Another one of those DGR Crossley machines. It's the 54 of Natalie Decker from Wisconsin.
Pretty solid lap going. Look, tracking 8th right now. She is going to end up 8th right behind Johnny Sauter, 30.814.
4 starts this season for Natalie so far, including a season best, career best of 13th at Las Vegas. Was 17th last week at Dover.
Her season got off to a bit of a thrilling start with a bit of a fire down there at Daytona.
On lap 1, right?
Yeah.
Cut her tire down on lap 1. And
I don't know that I would classify that as a bit of a fire. I think that was a full-fledged fire.
And it probably wasn't a bit of a thrilling start. It was a full-fledged thrilling start. You're right, Vince.
It was a bit of a fire to us way up here. It was a real fire to her down there in the cockpit.
This guy has a lot of confidence about this truck today. He really thinks he's got something for these guys tonight, and certainly has proven his prowess on the 1.5 miles.
All season long, really. I mean, he doesn't have the win yet, but he scored more points than anyone this season. Has the best average finish of all the full-time drivers.
Yes, the only tracking 8th quickest right now for Grant Enfinger. And that, you know, when you run wide open around here and you're able to run wide open in the race, maybe not every lap, but certainly for a while, some crew chiefs may elect to build a little more downforce in their vehicle, thinking that later in the run that you're going to need that downforce. That could be the situation here for Jeff Hensley and Grant Enfinger as they end up qualifying 8th thus far.
I guarantee you they still think they're going to be the truck that can and maybe even in their eyes a favorite, like I said earlier, to win this race tonight. And Phil, these trucks will run faster in the draft, so the teams have to consider that, how they set the truck up and how that affects this one lap around this track by yourself. They're not going to see much of that tonight.
Here's Stuart Friesen, pole winner at Martinsville earlier this season.
He'll be thrilling to watch tonight. Stewart, dirt racer from way up north.
I mean, that's kind of on the next page, like north.
Up
Canada.
North. Yeah, that's what I meant.
north of us.
Talented racer. Dirt modifieds and.
Oh, the fans in the Northeast just love this guy.
Well, I love him too because he's thrilling.
Yes.
He's fun to watch.
And he more than likely will be racing somewhere, possibly tomorrow, somewhere on dirt with dirt modified.
Maybe up there, north. Way up.
Certainly east of here anyway, right?
Speaking of north and east, as we see Stuart Friesen slot in there in the 6th spot. The state north of us in Kansas is what?
Nebraska.
How about you? Back at Kansas Speedway for qualifying the Gander Outdoors Truck Series. Setting the lineup for our race later tonight. Here's Todd Gilliland, who will be making his first Truck Series start here because he wasn't yet 18 years old.
Hey, did I tell you how important the launch is?
Yeah.
Watch how aggressive this is.
Wow.
That might be a little much. What do you think, Phil?
That's a pretty strong transition from the apron of the racetrack to the racetrack.
But I think it just reinforces what we said, how important it is for these drivers to get wound up, get off pit road, and get all the speed they can as they get back to the start-finish line to take the green flag.
He's raced here in ARCA, but as mentioned, this will be his first Truck Series start at Kansas. Has raced on some 1.5 miles before, obviously, since he turned 18.
Yes, good lap going, and you can see he crossed the start-finish line about 8th and moved it up to 4th. So I think it definitely affected that lap.
You could see that nose of the truck right down on the ground, but look at it as they leave pit road, Phil. That just tells you all the engineering and technology that is built into this truck. He's able to get to the track. The nose goes down, but it doesn't bottom off the road, doing no damage. There he slips a little bit, but you can just see all the control that's in the suspension of that truck, allowing it to bounce on the road like that and not tear that nose up. I'm worried about my track record, Phil.
Yeah.
I think we've seen enough of a sample where probably going to fall a little bit short of it, but darn, still a lot of fast speeds.
Well, remember, this guy was 0.2 quicker than the field last week at Dover, so well, you need about 3.5 tenths to get that track record.
Moffitt's first career pole last week.
Yeah, that was awesome to see him finally win a pole. I think that was getting on Brett's nerves a bit.
one of your good buddies, Mike. You guys hit the golf ball together on a fairly regular occasion.
And I want to tell you something about that young man driving the 24 truck. He's country strong. He wheels that race truck with so much passion, and he can hit a golf ball like 320 yards. It's crazy how athletic he is and how strong he is. And that's why he's able to have that mustache. Nobody can say anything to him about it.
Well, you wouldn't dare.
No, I wouldn't.
Fourth quickest currently for Moffitt, and we check in again with Alan.
And Vince, I'm down here with Tyler Ankrum, who's watching the monitor, watching it together. He wants to stay P2 right there. You described your lap as scary, and you had the whole body language into it.
Yeah, well, so, I mean, I had Texas, I had Dover. Those are really fast tracks. But I'm like only 4 races into this thing, so it's still really scary. Like when you get in the corner, like you don't realize like it's shaking a lot. You're just like, oh, stay in it. So, you know, I had a ton of fun. The guys at DJR Crawlers brought me a fantastic truck. We got Jordan Harris, Sheldon on the truck this week. A police officer died recently in Mooresville, North Carolina, where it was like a few miles from our race shop. So really wanted to have a good drive for that family as they had the service today for him. So happy to have them aboard, and everyone at Toyota, DGR, I don't know, on the moon.
And Tyler's mom is down here in the pits. A happy Mother's Day to her and all the moms out there, my mom included, and my mother-in-law.
Well, I liked Tyler's enthusiasm. He seemed a lot happier than I'm guessing Brandon Jones was during that series of moments that we saw him have in the 51 truck.
It started pretty early over there in turn number 1.
Yeah, that was a handful. And I'm so thankful to hear Tyler Ankrum try to explain what it's like out there. I talked earlier, Phil, about running on these mile-and-a-half tracks and trying to go wide open. You could see how loose that truck for Jones was as he entered turn 1. I'm telling you, when things go perfect and you do run wide open, you swear you're picking up speed when you're going into the turns, and that's a thrilling ride. And it's cool to see Tyler be able to try to explain how cool it is to get to do this.
You know, back in the day before the Cup cars had all the downforce that they have now, the center of the corner speed in these trucks would be a lot faster than the center corner speed in a Cup car, even though their overall lap time would be considerably faster for the Monster Energy Cup cars. But now with all the downforce in the Cup cars, that's why they're going so fast, is they're going fast through the center of the corner like these trucks are.
Look at this lap for Ben Rhodes. Lost a little bit of time exiting turn 2 there. See if he can gather it back up.
It's really close up through the top. The top 6 are really only separated by about 1/10 of a second, just a hair over 1/10 of a second.
Rhodes going to be off a little bit and outside the top 10. You know, it's interesting. We were talking, Phil, you mentioned it in the open, that all of the winners in the previous 18 races here at Kansas have all started inside the top 10. There's some pretty respectable names outside the top 10 that are going to be lining up tonight.
Yeah, including Grant Enfinger, who I thought was one of the favorites, and right there in 10th is Johnny Sauter, another guy that you think is going to have something to say about who gets the checkered flag tonight.
Rhodes, Brandon Jones, put them on that list as well. Jordan Anderson right now about 15th.
Yeah, solid lap for Jordan. You see it going the right direction there.
And he slots into the 14th position.
Wasn't very good.
Back downstairs to Allen.
And I'm with Tyler Ankrum's teammate, Natalie Decker, 13th on the board right now. Anything you left out there in terms of qualifying?
Yeah, my goal was to get the top 15, so I hope we stay there. We picked up a lot from practice. The truck was really good, and I'm really loving this team with DGR Crosley, so I'm really thankful to be here.
Trying to get that goal.
And she's, as she said, right there in 13th, so it's going to be close.
Oh, you talking about a handful.
Yeah.
Wow.
Holy cow. And he hung into it.
Yeah, that's going to cost him, though. Yeah, we saw it, Austin. It was too loose. He was tracking quickest over in the middle of 3 and 4 and ended up 7th quickest. But as you mentioned, he held on to her.
Watch this driving job. You can see the left rear is out from that white line more than the left front, and he's working that wheel. And I'm going to guess his foot never came off the throttle with that qualifying time. Great job by Austin Hill there.
Just a couple of more to go. Sheldon Creed going to give it a shot to try to knock Matt Crafton from pole position.
Johnny Sauter has now been knocked out of the top 10, Vince.
Yeah.
I'm liking maybe the top 10 doesn't get the win tonight.
I don't know. Ooh, bit of a wiggle off the corner for Sheldon Creed.
He was on a flyer, too.
He was, too.
Got to turn 3. He was faster than our pole sitter so far, Matt Crafton, but couldn't. I guess all that speed had to go somewhere. It almost went out from underneath of him.
So Creed is 9th, and Crafton has just one more to survive, and that's
look at
Joe
his hands.
Nemechek.
Wow, what a save.
Nemechek piloting the 8 truck, as you see, and Joe's made 4 starts this season. Of course, had that great weekend that many will remember back in 2004. Swept the Xfinity and the Cup races here at Kansas that year.
That's a pretty good weekend.
Yeah, it is. Say. But he is well into the red, and that means that pole position is safe for Matt Crafton. Go ahead and smile, Matt. There it is.
Bam.
Ian Crew Chief Junior Joyner and company. Matt Crafton will lead him to the green. That truck looks fast even when they're just pushing it, and there's a reason for that. It is the pole-winning truck, piloted by Matt Crafton. First pole of the season, 14th of his career. Crafton is 42. Tyler Ankrum is 18 years old, Mike.
And between the two of them, Vince, 437 starts for Matt Crafton, 6 starts for Tyler Ankrum. That experience thing is hugely important, right?
Well, that's why
How big? How important?
13 thousandths of a second. I mean, that experience did it.
Those 24 years are only worth 13 thousandths of a second?
Yes.
Unbelievable. Herbie.
Speaking of experience, Crafton's got that. And they go back to old school single truck qualifying, and the experienced guy puts it up there on P1. Big day for you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. These guys have been working really, really hard at the shop. Our mile-and-a-half program went in the tank in the last 2 years, and we weren't even making the last round. We weren't even making the second round on some of these places. So it just says a lot of effort for everybody back at ThorSport, everybody that hangs these bodies, and everyone at ThorSport just said putting the right foot forward and making these things so much better each and every week. Johnny getting the win last week, and we ran good. We qualified well last week, and if we'd had track position, I felt we could have raced with Johnny last week. So like I said, I can't thank every one of those guys at ThorSport for how hard they've been working, and this Menard Ford F-150 is pretty fast, I think.
As you said, Vince, 14th career pole, and he's got 2 wins at this racetrack, so things are lining up for the 88.
And speaking of lining up, here is the lineup that we'll see later tonight. Crafton and Ankrum up front.
This is going to be a good one, Phil. I like the way this thing's stacked up after qualifying. No, we talk about running wide open, but when you get out there in traffic, you got to have a good handling truck, and you've got to be willing to run right out next to that outside wall. We're going to see all kinds of different racing lines tonight when we go green.
Bunch of good trucks on this page right here from 9th back through 16th.
We talked earlier about all the winners from the past. This here at Kansas have started inside the top 10. There's some pretty good ones outside the top 10 here tonight.
Well, Sauter and Enfinger are 2 of those guys that we know are favorites here later tonight.
I wouldn't count out Brandon Jones either, who starts all the way back there in row 11. Certainly disappointing qualifying for that team, but
yeah, but that thing was loose, Vince, and that could play into their hands tonight. This track will tighten up as the sun goes down, and he could have the right setup.
Coming up here on FS1, NASCAR Race Hub is headed your way next. Cup Series qualifying, the Monster Energy Cup Series at 7 o'clock Eastern, and then race day at 8. And we'll get going here with 167 laps in the Kansas 250 about 8:30 Eastern. And they'll be led to the green by that man, Matt Crafton, the pole winner at Kansas.